Let the train!
You are listening to What the Truck. Well, welcome back, everyone. It's the Enterprise Fleet Summit Special Edition version of What the Truck. That is a mouthful. Good grief. I'm Thomas Wasson, joined by my special guest host, Justin Martin. Justin, welcome, sir.
Thank you. We are so back.
We are definitely back. And speaking of back, we're going to have a wonderful show going on today. We're going to have 3 guests. We're going to be talking with the folks from Bosch. And then we're going to have later on Luma, Brighter Learning, and then finally Genesis Equip You. Before we begin, though, one thing we want to do is thank our sponsors. And so that's going to be another big thing. We have the folks, if you look at it, their regional sponsor is Trimble. Our content sponsors are Boone and Genesis. And then finally, our demo companies are Bosch. And so big shout out to those folks. Check them out. And then before we dive in, let's take a look at some quick headlines as well. This is from the FreightWaves.com site. The first one is coming from Martin. They're selling their intermodal unit to Hub Group, which is growing its refrigerated footprint. Unfortunately for the folks at Martin, their intermodal operations had not had a sub 100 OR since early 2023. So Hub's getting a big deal. Martin is getting out of the intermodal game. And so the companies both issued prepared statements on the transaction. The sale price is reported to be at $51.8 million. Justin, want to get your thought on this next one here. We're going to kick it up here. Warren Buffett has an update to an update. The train people have been going crazy lately. Denies that Goldman Sachs is advising BNSF on a potential merger. The development follows reports that Union Pacific and Norfolk Southern are having talks. We may finally get another transcontinental railroad.
What can I say? Again, we are so back. Everybody loves, the intermodals. Yeah, these are big companies. This is going to take a while for them to figure out what they want to do.
They got to hash it out. It's not just like the typical day where you find out who keeps what trains. When you have those large operations like that, hundreds to thousands of trains, it gets a little complicated.
I would love to have been a fly on the wall during those negotiations.
Same with the folks at our trains.com staff. Those are the ones who reported on it. And then finally, we have one from the folks at the American Trucking Association has proposed ditching a gas tax for a vehicle registration fee. The money would replace the gas tax revenue collected for the Highway Trust Fund. The lobby group is telling Congress. It looks like they want to try to change it from the old gas tax. Anyone had to deal with that before? It's a real pain in the butt to an annual vehicle registration. So they're trying to advocate on that. Especially as we're seeing more trucks, cars, and EVs. That was one of the interesting things as well when you think about it, is how do you tax the gas on an EV?
Nobody knows yet. You're going to have some kind of spy device on your odometer and track every movement. So that kind of tech exists now, and I think it's only going to get worse as time goes on.
Gonna have to figure it out for sure. Save the roads, save the whales, save the environment. That's right, folks. You heard it from us first. Now, let's get into our guests here. We're going to dive into our first guest. Super excited to be welcoming on Steve Sykora. He's this customer and partner acquisition lead for Bosch in North America. Steve, welcome to the show, sir. Pleasure to have you on.
Well, excited to be here. Thanks for having me, Tom.
Tell us a little bit about what Bosch Mobility Platform and their solutions are. Give us a little bit of backstory about what y'all are working on.
Yeah, so Bosch has a long history in the mobility space, and as the world's largest tier one supplier from an automotive and a commercial vehicle perspective, we've had to make that technology transition just like many large companies had over the last 10 to 15 years. So we've created a business unit that focuses in on solutions for the commercial vehicle, transportation, and logistics space. So what we do is we take a customer-first approach and listen to the market and identify the different types of solutions, whether it's in-vehicle, connected vehicle solutions, whether it's developing solutions to help companies manage their technology stack, creating platforms that bring point solutions to the transportation and logistics industry. We have experts that help develop many of these solutions to help companies manage essentially all of their needs from a transportation and logistics perspective.
Nice, thanks. So you buy the truck, you got to take care of the truck. What kind of fleet maintenance trends are you seeing, guys, right now?
I'm sorry, could you state that again? You cut out.
What fleet maintenance trends are you guys seeing right now?
If you're looking at
maintenance?
larger
Some
fleet
of the
maintenance
trends
trends, yeah.
Yeah, some of the trends that we see is, companies have always been thirsty for data, right? And so what do they do with that data? The core objective is to be able to take data in a live, actionable fashion. So not only do they want live data, they want it to be actionable. And then to take it a step further is how do we take that data and create an environment that they can manage all of their fleet management needs in a holistic fashion. There are many, many solutions out in the market today that allow companies to manage their transportation management needs, their maintenance management needs, their connected vehicle needs. But what we see is that entire ecosystem is somewhat fragmented. And so what we're seeing is companies are trying to bring it all together, and to do it themselves takes an enormous lift. And this is where companies like Bosch come to play to help solve some of these holistic problems for many of these enterprise type companies.
And it's a super big challenge as well. There's so much data and software out there. One of the big things is how do you use it to increase the revenue? And so, when we're looking at utilizing the software and these mobility solutions, give us a breakdown of some of the ways that they're using it to help fix the bottom line, especially now that times are still pretty lean if you're looking at all the inflation and stuff going on in the fleet space.
Exactly. And, so what we see is obviously, from a maintenance management perspective, fleets are looking to optimize uptime. More uptime increases revenue generation. They also are looking for different solutions to reduce their cost and their expenses. But there's a lot more to it than that. Um, you know, Again, as I just said, many of these companies are looking for holistic, integrated type solutions. So instead of having to invest the time and effort with technology intermediaries to bring information together and go through the cost of integration, they're looking at solutions that already have that in place or take care of that for them. Number one, what does that mean from a value prop perspective? It helps increase internal productivity. Right? They're looking for solutions that can help their repair technicians improve their productivity by having advanced information so that they can turn their equipment over in a timely fashion. They're looking for these solutions to bring in the right part at the right place at the right time for these technicians, therefore improving that throughput and minimizing the downtime. So really, the information that they then can gather, both in a real-time perspective, so that there is a cost mitigation and avoidance to certain problems, i.e., hey, here's a fault code that's being thrown from a vehicle at this point in time. It's a critically low coolant level. Tell Mr. Dispatcher, Mr. Fleet Manager, have your driver pull over now to avoid a $60,000 engine replacement. Or it might be, hey, we see there's a problem with a fuel injector based upon our data. Our data scientists have accumulated all this data. You've got about a week to get that truck into the shop. Oh, by the way, we have access to your part inventory. You don't have that part in stock. Here's the part number that you need to order for that make, model, year. So from a supply chain perspective, you can match up the delivery of that part to the scheduled maintenance. Again, minimizing the downtime of that equipment and optimizing the revenue generation. And one of the most unspoken value adds to that is the driver satisfaction, the impact on the driver. As we all know, drivers hate when something goes wrong with their equipment. They can't get in their truck, right? And they want to make sure that their truck, their livelihood, is in optimal condition. And so, being able to optimize that and mitigate maintenance-related type issues is extremely imperative and is a positive impact on driver satisfaction and ultimately driver retention.
As a former driver, you are preaching to the choir. What can you tell me about your solution, FleetMe?
Yeah, so FleetMe stands for Fleet Maintenance Ecosystem. And we've just done just what I've talked about. We've attended a number of conferences over the course of the last 5 years. We saw the disparate systems out there, and there are a lot of good point solutions out there. Quite honestly, they address different components of the whole maintenance ecosystem that fleets needs to address, but nothing really brought it all together. And so we said, hey, wouldn't it be great that a fleet can address from a one-stop shop perspective all of their fleet maintenance management needs and have one place to and platform to go to, and this platform handles everything from the telematics to the DTC fault codes that are thrown from the equipment, the trailer maintenance management perspective, the scheduled maintenance needs, the unscheduled maintenance needs, the parts inventory, both in-house and what's stored at your third-party vendors. The ability for third-party vendors to work directly into the system. So now you have an integrated repair order process that brings everything together, including driver vehicle inspection reports, live data from a telematics unit. And oh, by the way, the added value that no one else in the industry can add is we've got Bosch inside. Why is that important? Bosch in just about every vehicle that is running on the planet today, especially our background in commercial vehicle manufacturers, we have Bosch components, steering systems, brake systems, fuel sensors, tire sensors. Okay, we understand the integral workings of the vehicle itself better than any other vendor out there. And so, bringing everything together in our background from a mobility perspective, our long history and understanding of the assembly and manufacturing of all the components within a vehicle, and now a industry best platform that allows transportation providers, carriers, to have that one-stop shop so they can get the best value, the best bang for their buck in managing their maintenance needs.
And kind of looking ahead, I like that's one of the evergreen challenges with maintenance is who handles it. There's so many different moving parts, all the way from dealers to OEMs and figuring out how to get your truck rolling. When we're looking to the future of fleet maintenance, you all released this awesome platform that has tons of data. Being, Bosch having the experience and reach that it has. What are we talking about looking ahead for when we're thinking about the future of fleet maintenance? Is this kind of the baseline, or what are you all thinking of as we're, further developing this platform and going from there?
Right, and it's not just about the platform, too, right? It's like what can we do from a in-vehicle component perspective? So we have as an example, one example of many. We have a solution within the vehicle. It's a telematics type a piece of hardware that acts as that in-vehicle integration hub. We call it a C hub, and that captures all the in-vehicle data. It also has the ability to embed third-party algorithms, software within the CAN of that telematics unit itself, thereby acting as an integrator to all sorts of other connected vehicle components. And it takes that data and normalizes that and then pushes it to our platform for that to be a usable data. And then, so that's kind of the future, and the future is now. We've actually just brought that to the United States and is in market today. And we have several very large fleets that are evaluating that and placing that into their fleet today. It's an exciting time because we're starting to see the future come live. What else is part of the future? Well, we know all about AI, right? Everywhere you go, you see that flashy new sign about the use of AI. Well, we've taken a little bit of different approach. So not only do we talk about the use of AI, but we've actually leveraged AI as an integral part of how we help companies manage their business, and it's extremely important because as AI, as you know, is becoming more and more pervasive in everything that we do today. we firmly believe that you have to truly make that as a part of your business process and not treat that as that shiny new object out there without a true definition of how it's going to be used. That's another way that we see the future of maintenance management, moving towards. So now we have all this data. It's no longer disparate. It's normalized. You're leveraging AI. Now you can get into more of a predictive environment, and then ultimately the true north is in the prognostic environment where you're projecting out. Hey, here is your equipment life cycle management. Oh, in 9 months you need to start thinking about replacing that 2017 make model and your vehicle. Because this is what we see happening from a total landed cost perspective. Here is your sweet spot in being able to manage that equipment. That's the true north. We are down that path and making that happen for the industry today.
Well, Steve, we're really excited to see what y'all are working on as well. Thank you so much for coming on and getting to share this info with us. If folks want to learn more about Bosch Mobility, check out what you're working on or check out the platform. What is the best way for folks to get more info?
Yeah, they can contact me at steven.sykora@us.bosch.com or on our website at www.l-os.com. And then that LOS.com stands for Logistics Operating System. That's our platform that helps drive solutions to the logistics industry. And then you'll see a little bit more of our platform in the demo that'll be coming shortly.
Well, we're looking forward to it, Steve. Thank you so much for your time. We're definitely going to have to catch up again soon.
Great. Thanks, guys. Have a great day. Great show.
Thank you.
That's some cool stuff going on. I love the mobility tech. It used to be we were happy enough for like visibility to see where things were, and now it's gotten to a point where with analytics and stuff, I almost feel like the truck is in a better spot to know if it needs maintenance than my own self.
Yeah, and it was interesting. We talked about AI. All this data that everybody's collecting, you got to have some way of sifting through it. Large language models, that's what they excel at. So you got all this data, do something useful with it. AI is your best bet.
I'm super excited for that. And let's talk, speaking of which, let's talk about learning things. We're going to be bringing on our next guest now. It's Dr. Gina Anderson. She is the CEO of Luma Brighter Learning. We're going to talk about how adults learn, which that could help me out because I may look great on camera. Justin looks better, but I do struggle with learning. Gina, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here today, and you guys are stars. So let's get into it. I love learning. I love learning science. So this is an awesome spot to talk about it.
And let's talk about what you all do first. This is really cool. So I pulled it up here. When we're looking at a connected learning platform, safety, compliance, risk, human performance, those are all the stuff that I definitely should have filled out whenever I was working in trucking. Talk a little bit about your company first, and then we'll dive right in.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a connected learning platform, and we're really focused on driving behavior change. So in the industry, most people think of learning management systems, but what they don't really realize is that we're in a time in our lives where we're the most connected. But in 2023, like the Surgeon General reported, we're the most disconnected than we've ever been. And so that is why we offer a connected learning platform to help improve safety, to reduce risk. And most of all, you two, it's to bring connection among all the drivers and learners.
Yeah, see if we get her back in here as well here. We'll pull her back in a moment here. Talking about the platform, it's really cool, especially when we're looking at safety training modules. And so that's one of the things where it's one thing to drive the truck, and then even for front and back office, it's a whole other thing to go through all these modules and continuously refresh and learn, which has always been one of the big challenges. Is it's like you learned it, you got it, you're on the road, but then you still need those refreshers.
Yeah, you get those all the time, especially at larger fleets. During my time at a mega carrier, it's like every couple of months you're back in the office, sitting on a terminal computer, watching 5-10 minute long videos teaching you how to drive safely during the winter. Those are helpful because you can get kind of stuck in bad habits, and it's nice to get a refresher every once in a while.
It definitely is. And we'll work on getting Dr. Anderson back on the phone as well here to hop back on. But I think it's definitely something where, especially from that safety and compliance standpoint, you have to send out like quarterly safety training. It's a never ending, nonstop goal of trying to get it going.
Yeah, and there's no reason. I mean, it's no surprise why companies have to do this. Everything is CYA. So, you want to make sure your drivers are trained to the current standards. You don't want to be sending drivers out to areas where maybe they're in over their head. Driving in the mountains during the winter is a lot different than driving in the mountains during the summer. Constantly refreshing on how to put chains on. You got to keep up.
Perfect. Hey, we got Dr. Anderson back.
We are back.
Welcome
I'm back. Yes, I don't know what happened. I'm glad to be here. So I heard you talking about mountain driving. It's so important.
It really, yeah, it's a whole other thing. And we were talking about before we got you back on the constant refresher modules as well. And one of the things I'm curious about, and this is something cool, is what is the most misunderstood aspect of how people actually learn? Because it does feel like sometimes we give everyone the same size of shoe, but it may not fit the right foot.
Exactly. Everyone's brain is different. And in fact, depending on your age, it impacts how you learn. And so most of the time in trucking, we're delivering content, but really there's 5 interaction modes for learning. The most underutilized modes are learner to self and learner to learner. And those 2 interaction modes have the most underestimated forces to bring about change in our personal and our professional life. But we're so busy delivering generic content that we can't change behavior. So I'm really passionate about helping all learners learn with all 5 interaction modes. And that's what Luma's connected learning platform does. We help individualize learning so that every person has an opportunity to learn. And that's so powerful.
And I like the 5 different types of interactions. Whenever we're working on that, I've done a few back in the past. Do you take like a little quiz to find out what learner you are, or talk about how you find the learner you are, and then how the modes can help? Because that was always my biggest challenge. Is some people like video, some are audio, visual, some can just read it. Dive into a little bit about how you all are helping customize and tailor that.
Yeah, so in fact, you may have a preference to learn, but that might not be how you learn the best. So you may say that you're a visual learner, but that's not how you assimilate and process information. So the idea is every learner needs to hear on average something between 7 and 9 times in different formats. But actually what matters for information processing is that either you tie in emotional resonance, you make it novel, you bring it relevant to their life in a lot of different ways, because you need to hear it multiple times and see it and feel it and experience it. And once you can draw those associations with your current synapse and the way you learn, you remember it. And so you may say, like, I prefer to learn hands-on. That just means that you're more attended to be able to learn that way. It doesn't necessarily mean that you process and remember information that way. So that's the most disconnection. It's a myth in learning to say we have a learning style. You're not born like a specific learner. You have a preference to learn. And the first step of learning is having someone's attention. So if you think that you're a hands-on learner, you're going to be attended in that way more, but that doesn't mean you're going to remember it better. So that's why at Luma, we use all 5 interaction modes, and we use our connected platform to facilitate that on an individual level. And this goes beyond just generic videos. So for example, instead of sending someone a generic video about being safe in a parking lot, you can use Luma technology to scan the parking lot, and you can actually see the parking lot, see the hazards. So that's more powerful no matter what your preference of learning is, because it's authentic and it's relevant, and you can build the association to that parking lot before you get there. And that's what authentic learning is. So you're right, we all learn differently. I just released a research paper studying the different ages of brains, because as we age, you actually lose gray and white matter, and you start building cerebral fluid, and it changes how we remember and how we engage in information. So all of this is important to understand to be able to connect with learners in meaningful ways. And that's what we're really passionate about at Luma, is to change lives and to actually connect with people and make a difference.
I'm in my 40s now, and I'm feeling that fluid build up every day.
Feeling some fluid as well.
So what's different about
Yes,
Luma?
yes.
So what's different about Luma versus other players in this space?
So our competitors are content providers. That's what they do. They just deliver content and generic videos. Luma, we're a connected platform because we bring learners together to connect with each other, to connect with an instructor, and also to connect with content, but the content is authentic. So like I said, clients that use Luma can really bring in their authenticity to build this relevance to change lives. We also bring in psychology. I wear this bracelet a lot. Just because you know not to text and drive, you're not going to send somebody out a video, stop texting and driving. They already know that. But in Luma, we can use psychology and motivational theory. I've made a commitment not to text and drive, and this is my reminder. And in our platform, you can assess if someone's ready to change. Look, if I want to text and drive and I'm not ready to change that behavior, it's not going to matter how many generic videos you send me on stopping, texting, driving. We're not going to change our behavior. So we're able to bring in behavior data from telematics, from custom data from our fleets and people we work with to tailor and customize these psychology surveys and also authentic content to actually change lives. So if, like I said, if you need 7 plus or minus 2 on average interaction points, sending one just generic video isn't going to change the behavior. So yeah, they can see it and say, okay, I did that, but you need to have a coach. And so somebody that can talk to you. And one thing that we're doing at Luma, if you go to our website, you'll see today we released a new paper on how to use motivational interviewing to talk to people. Because just because you send content, say, don't do that, and you start yelling at the driver, you're not going to change their behavior, right? So we want to share strategies of psychology and science of actually how to move behaviors forward. So we give education away for free, but we build this into our technology to help you be able to use motivational interviewing techniques, for example, with those 5 interaction modes so that you can coach behavior. And at the end of the day, the learner has to be involved in their own learning process to change behavior. If someone's not ready to change, it doesn't matter how many videos you send them. You have to know what motivates their heart and also how to tap into their mind and science to change their life. So I love it. And we use these little nuggets. Our competitors don't have mascots. This is Nugget. It's a little bit of hope, love, and learning. And Nugget goes around and shares learning and changes lives.
I love it. So the mascot is named Nugget, and it's the knowledge nugget.
Yeah.
It is. It's a little bit of hope, love, and learning. And honestly, everybody needs that. Everyone needs a little hope and love and learning because learning is the seed of life.
And I wanted to pick your brain on the motivational aspect because it used to be when you've been a driver, I've been back office fleets, conversations were never very positive. It was always very negative. Why did you do this? You shouldn't do this. How do we is there any for folks who are watching this and they're like, I really like this. I want to try to do some Jedi skills instead of Sith Lord. What's the best way to kind of start with these motivation? Is there any low hanging fruit or is there any kind of tips you can give them to recommend it? Yeah.
Yes, I love this. So I was at a Cottingham and Butler insurance captive. I just left the TCA Women in Motion group who's going on Capitol Hill today, and they're going to try to persuade people. And here's the thing that I talk about, and I wrote my book when I went to the insurance captive, I asked everyone how many people felt like a 5, like felt really, really good today. To tap into motivational theory, you have to define your true self. So you have to start with learner to self. Most people don't. They start with learner to instructor, and they have me start telling you what to do. But at the end of the day, like we talked about yesterday in the Women in Motion group, you really have to start with what motivates you? What drives you? Why do you get up and do this every day? And having someone reflect on their purpose and why they showed up, and then having the coach use that and know how to talk about that with the individual is really what we help organizations do, because most people don't even use learner to self. We don't spend time. And that's why I wrote my book, because I wanted to give science. This is science. We all have a brain. We all have the power inside of each of us to define our true self. And so that's where you start. And then you can use learner to instructor to really help move that forward, because we can't do this alone. So we need each other.
Well, I really appreciate it, Dr. Anderson. If folks want to learn more, thank you so much for coming on and giving us some amazing info. If Nugget comes in a print or something, we'll throw Nugget up here somewhere. I love it. When we're looking ahead, want to reach out and learn more, and also tell us about the book. If folks want to get more information about not only Luma or check out some of your writing and articles, what's the best way to get that?
Yes, so if you want to know about Luma, go to lumabridallearning.com, our website. You'll get a lot of free education resources. You don't necessarily have to buy our connected platform, but if you do, you can change lives and see ROI. If you want free education from me personally, you go to learningwithgina.com. I published a book. I'll give it to you for free. You don't have to buy it. I'm not trying to make money off of it. I want to help change lives. So if you are struggling, I did a research study and drivers were saying they were depressed and lonely. If you're struggling, definitely reach out to me. My book is on my website. It's Thrive, How Learning Can Ignite a New Way Forward. I also have 2 podcasts. My podcast, I Love Learning, is to help people know that everyone in their lives have hurdles in their life, and learning can be the seed that move you forward. So people come on my show to talk about hurdles that they've had and how they've overcome them to improve their life. So as a community of learners, that's what Luma really brings and builds. And so if you go to lumabridallearning.com, follow us on LinkedIn, follow me on LinkedIn, we're happy to support you and build a learning community. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much, Gina. We really appreciate you hopping on as well. A lot of amazing info. We definitely got to catch up again soon.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much.
That's so funny. We were just talking about mascots backstage before all this.
Yeah, the Philly one. What was his name though? The wild Philly mascot.
Gritty.
Gritty.
Yeah. So the psychology behind Philadelphia, you have the beloved Phillies mascot. Of course, now I'm blanking. I'm not from Philly.
Gritty.
Fanatic. Thank you, backstage. Yeah, so you had the Philly Fanatic, and then the Flyers came out with their own mascot, Gritty. And when they first launched them, it was kind of a dud. Everybody in the city was like, what the hell is this? This stinks. Well, then the national news got a hold of it, and then the rest of the nation was like, their mascot sucks. Philadelphia immediately did a 180, and they're like, no, Gritty is awesome. He is ours. You're wrong. So yeah, mascots are powerful motivating tools.
Motivation. It reminds me of Sun Tzu. If you want to win a battle, you've got to know yourself and the problem. Because if you don't know both, you've only got 50-50 odds.
Yeah, I'll take a Nugget plushie.
I would take a Nugget. Yeah, put it out there. Definitely check them out. Let's go to our final guest here as well. Been an amazing show so far. Our next guest is Hugo Beltran, CEO of Genesis Equip You. Hugo, super excited to have you on. Welcome, sir.
Guys, thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here. I don't have any mascots, right? But I have a solution, and I am just here to work and help people with small and medium-sized fleets. So I am super happy to be with you today.
Well, let's talk about the solution. Tell us a little bit about what y'all are working on, and then we're going to talk about the overall context in the market about why it's so important.
Awesome, guys. So look, here at Genesis Equip You, what we do is we work with clients, small and medium-sized fleets. Generally, it's people with more than 10 power units, right? These guys don't have a lot of infrastructure. They wouldn't have a fleet manager or a fleet director. And I think they have a lot of challenges in the acquisition of equipment, be it a power unit or be it a trailer. So what we're trying to do here is work with this type of clients in the equipment acquisition and really kind of shorten the time from when they decide to acquire a new unit until the time the unit starts making money.
So that's one of the big things, is because there's a lot of extra steps along the way. You really need to help a partner. I wouldn't even know how to buy a truck if I wanted to. I'm barely good enough to get a car. So you try trusting me with something that expensive. Give us some bigger context as well, because we've been in this great freight recession. We've capitalized it now. Take that, AP style guide. Tell us a little bit about what some of these fleets have been dealing with over the past few years, and then what makes it such a challenge where you guys can step in and really just help them out.
Absolutely. Look, I think that the last 3 years have been very, very, very challenging for everyone in the industry, right? We have been dealing with volatile fuel prices, with a high and very volatile also asset prices. For a period of time, we were paying $100,000 for equipment that used to be worth $50,000. Then there is the financing side of things where a lot of finance companies have step back from the market. So for fleets, it's a little bit more difficult to finance. Some banks have also taken the back seat. Cost in insurance and maintenance, etc., is up. Of course, these companies, many have lower resources today because of the low freight rates. They have been forced to kind of cut back on the people they have, etc. So they face a significant number of challenges that I think makes it more difficult to compete with the big players in the business.
And one of the fascinating challenges, I wanted to get your thoughts on the inventory challenges. I didn't really fully understand this until I got to interview someone who wanted to buy trucks. And even road ready used trucks, finding the right truck and the right price, it's almost like you need extra help to know if this used truck has been maintained or not. Talk about some of that challenge, because it does seem to be that there's just so many options, so many different ways to get it, that finding the right one, you could get a lemon by accident. The next thing you know, you're paying more than if you've got, maybe a different year model or something.
Absolutely. Look, there is all kind of trucks out there, right? You can go and buy in auctions, you can go and buy in an OEM dealership, you can buy from your cousin. There are many, many different options, right? But also there are different representations and preparation work that goes into these trucks, right? I think that part of our mission is really to help people get into high quality equipment. Right, so we love working with OEMs, the OEM dealerships across the country, just because they have a name to live up to. Right? If you go and buy an asset in Premier Truck Group in Chattanooga, of course they are going to stand behind that product, and you know that there was money invested on making that product retail ready. Right? If you go to your cousin, well, it's not necessarily going to be the case. So I think that's one of the challenges where you get equipment from, and the other challenge I think we have is that 4 years after COVID, we are still suffering the effects of the supply chain issues that we had back then. So nowadays, if you want to buy a used truck, basically you have the option to go for a new one, which have become very expensive and still going up in prices because of tariffs, or you can go for a truck that is coming out of the first life. And a truck coming out of that first life from one of the big players is going to be a 2022, 2023 make, with probably around 400,000 miles. Well, that inventory, there is not a lot of it available today. And if you find it, it tends to be a lot more expensive than a 3-year or 4-year-old truck 5 years ago.
So there's almost kind of, because of that COVID glut, there was tons of people getting into it, lots of truck spots, and now there's a lot more used trucks in certain tranches. I'm kind of wondering, what's the good sweet spot right now? Is it one where I need a partner for folks who are looking to say, hey, I'd like to get new equipment. Mine's getting near the end of its first, second, or I've even seen third lives. Somebody buys them at year 7 and flips them at year 10. I kid you not. It's a real thing. For folks who are just trying to start, what are some of the big questions they need to start asking? And when we're looking to partnerships, what should they kind of be looking for? Because I would feel a lot of stress. I'd be afraid that I buy a used truck and I got it timed wrong because of how we had this big boom and bust impacting the market dynamics.
Look, I think that the first thing you have to look for is mileage. I think getting a truck with 400 to 450,000 miles is ideal. It has a little over 50% of the useful life ahead of it. Sure, it's a little more expensive. Nowadays, you might be paying 75 to 85,000 for that truck, but it's still going to be a reliable unit. The second thing is, if possible, you should be looking at where did that truck come from. Some carriers have better maintenance programs than others, right? That is not always available, but again, going to an OEM dealership will help you get a better unit. And the third thing is, if possible, look at getting a warranty, right? Many brands include it, some others don't, but they have them available for sale. So repairs can be expensive. At the end of the day, these are used units. They might be good value, but there are surprises. So there are some good warranties out there that you should be looking at getting with that unit.
So I want to get into this space. Maybe I see spot rates pop up a little bit, and I want to go out and buy a truck. Can you tell me more about your tailored financing for high quality trucks?
Sure. What we do specifically is we will finance people that are in the market for a used truck, generally less than 600,000 miles, less than 5-6 years old truck. And look, we will offer you the financing as long as you go and acquire a truck through one of our approved dealers. And our approved dealers are the biggest chains in the country, with whom we have had good experience as far as reliability. And again, we know that they are going to stand behind the product. So it's a mid-prime product, right? If we come across clients that have very good credit and they will qualify for bank financing, we will direct them that way. Otherwise, we'll do our in-house financing for them.
Awesome. So I don't have to buy my cousin's truck.
You don't have to buy your cousin's truck. And then the final question, where we got a little bit of time left, just as important once you buy it, having the right partnerships, dealership networks to fix it if something goes wrong. Talk a little bit about that real quick. Is that one of the also added benefits of partnering with someone versus if I just bought Justin's truck?
Yeah. No, I think that having the network is very important, right? Having a reliable truck. And always, more than that, you don't know when repairs are going to happen. But what you can do is do the preventive maintenance in your truck, right, as a schedule. And that is what will really create that reliability in the asset, right? Of course, if you go and buy a truck from one of the big dealership networks, say Bosch Enterprises, well, you have a significant number of locations that can support you in that purchase, right? So I think that is one of the very important things. Now, if you have a warranty and you bought a warranty from the manufacturer and extended warranty, you will have a nationwide network where they should be able to honor that warranty.
The right partnership for the right price and the right maintenance. It's all coming together. Hugo, thank you so much for hopping on, giving us some amazing information as well. If folks want to learn more about Genesis, get in touch, start that partnership. What's the best way they can get more info?
Yeah, sure. Just send us an email. You can reach out to us at info@genesisequipsyou.com. Or you can call us at our toll-free number, 844-351-0508.
Beautiful. Hugo, thank you so much for your time. Really looking forward to catching up with you all again soon.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate you.
Take care.
So we're coming up near the end of the show, but it's been an amazing live special edition What the Truck Enterprise Fleet Summit extravaganza. I said that all in one breath. That's right, folks. But we do have some housekeeping here. We are going to be giving away, coming up soon near the end of this entire event, a 36-inch Blackstone griddle. You have to register, though, to get it. Do you have yourself a griddle?
I don't have the 36-inch. I think mine's the 28. It's fantastic. I love it.
See, you gotta check it out. While you also check it out, we're going to be having a lot more stuff coming up. And so coming up right after this live show, we're actually kicking it into a demo by the folks from Bosch. And then later on, before we give the goodbyes, we have 2 more fireside chats. We're going to have the folks from market. We're looking at markets for logistics. Is there a capacity crunch? RXO's coming on and Logicin also. So that's going to be a really, really fun one. And then finally, we have other events coming up as well. We have our AI symposium that is coming up in Washington, D.C. next week. You want to check that out. All the stuff live.freightwaves.com. And then finally, the Future of Freight Festival. I think we may have a demo. Let's see. Can we kick the demo? Is that the right image? It's an image of stuff. It's got trucks, but you want to check it out, live.freightwaves.com. There we go. Beautiful scenic city in October instead of November. Make sure you buy your tickets. You don't want to miss it. Hey, it's been an absolute blast. I'm here with Super Trucker. Thank you so much for coming on, sir.
Thanks for having me.
And we will see you all again later. So check it out. A lot more great stuff coming up here at the Enterprise Fleet Summit. See you soon.